Hi, and welcome to this presentation for our Hedera Hashgraph ambassadors. We're going to be providing some training on some best practices and social media guidelines. My name is Andy Grant. I work with our community initiatives, and we have Sharon Cross, who's responsible for social media at Hedera, and Alec Otto, who is primarily responsible for our ambassador program and who many of you already know. What I want to say right off the bat is thank you very, very much for everything that you do to help Hedera and to help Hashgraph grow in the market. And we're really grateful for everything that you do. So I wanted to be sure to thank you up front. Getting started, we're really optimistic about what we can do together, both the ambassador program and Hedera Hashgraph. You know, the ambassadors are incredibly valuable to the Hashgraph ecosystem, and you prove it every day. And, you know, there's going to be some exciting opportunities for ambassadors to work with us to really push the brand and to push the technology forward. So I'm going to turn it over to Sharon.
Well, thank you so much, Andy. Really look forward to helping give you as ambassadors some exciting information about opportunities that you have in social media, but also share with you a little bit about your responsibilities. Hopefully you'll find this very informative, and it will help boost your reputation as an ambassador and as a professional. So why social media guidelines and training? We're a brand that really believes in ethical, transparent, fair, responsible transactions. And this means in the way that we do business with you, as well as online in our social channels. And we know that social media provides an excellent opportunity for our brand, for sure, to get out and to make a name for ourselves, but also for our ambassadors to build thought leadership and build the kind of things that they do online. You know, we strive for leadership in educating our partners and working with the partners that we work with so well. And we would like to provide guidelines to also help protect from risks. So when and how would we use these guidelines? These guidelines are expected behaviors for ambassadors and similarly affiliated resources. So if you're partners and ambassadors, these guidelines are for you. They should be followed while doing business with Hedera Hashgraph, Swirls, and our associated companies. And they should be followed when engaging online and in social media when talking about Hedera Hashgraph and Hedera Hashgraph related business. So if you have any questions, I want to mention right now, contact your team. We're here to help. Ambassadors@hashgraph.com is the alias email that you can use. If you have any questions or concerns, if you're in doubt, ask. Your team is here to help you out with this. So what are the guidelines in a nutshell? Well, 6 guidelines. Hopefully they're very simple. The first is we're collaboratively building trusted and respect for the Hashgraph ecosystem. We really want that to be important, is that there's this trust and respect in the way that we conduct our business. We want you to disclose your company relationships. We want you to distinguish between your personal versus your professional online activities. We want you to be truthful, respectful, and professional, avoid discrimination, harassment, violence, etc., and monitor and correct misstatements. So let's go into a little bit of detail for each of these 6 points. So first, collaboratively build this trusted ecosystem. So it's interesting for you to understand our core values as a brand. You know, our core values are to create this trusted, secure, and empowered digital future for all. And our values are integrity, ethics, service, excellence, and teamwork. So these are the kind of things that we hold true as a brand and that we want to extend online as a brand. So as you're an ambassador and you're talking about the brand, we hope that you'll respect these, understand these core values, and respect them in the way that we do business and the way that you talk about us online. This is also an opportunity for you to extend your professional values. So think about your values as a professional and the ethics, honest, transparent way that you want to do business and you want to be viewed by others online. This is an opportunity for you to build your professional brand through these positive online behaviors. You know, building your professional reputation is not about marketing spam. It's not about being a Hedera Hashgraph zombie. That's not what we want. What we're looking at is using your expertise and your insight and to share insights online. You know, share something that's going to be valuable to the audience. Insight is much more important to us than marketing. You know, we really want you to build your thought leadership, understand what's insightful to the audience, and share that kind of information. By sharing insight, you build your own professional reputation. Our second point, very important point, is to disclose your company relationships. So to be very clear about when and what you need to disclose, if the conversation online that you're engaging in is about Hedera Hashgraph business, then you need to have clear and conspicuous disclosure. So that's the rule, and actually there's a law behind that relates to disclosure. So some examples that help you to understand that. I'm going to go into a few different examples here. If the conversation is about technology, investing, business applications, or other Hedera related business, then that's where in the conversation you should disclose your relationship. State that you're an ambassador or affiliate and opinions are your own. If the conversation is about your company, which has nothing to do with Hedera Hashgraph business, or it's music, sports, hobbies, other things not related to Hedera business, well then you can keep this conversation separate from any Hashgraph conversation and you don't need to disclose. So remember, if the conversation is about Hedera related business, disclose. If it isn't, then you don't need to worry about disclosing. So you might ask if you should disclose in your profile. In other words, something like your Twitter profile, your Twitter bio, or your LinkedIn profile, or if you should disclose in a post. Well, those two things are different, and I want to use some examples that will help you understand the difference between disclosing in a profile and disclosing in a post. So in a profile, always disclose in your profile. So for example, you can say in your LinkedIn profile, I am a Hedera Hashgraph ambassador. Great, you've put that in your profile. Or here's an example in Twitter. I'm a Hedera Hashgraph ambassador and opinions are my own. It's easy to put that in your Twitter bio. So disclosing in your profile is great because it can be construed that you are a Hedera Hashgraph ambassador, and therefore, because of that relationship, you will have information related to that relationship. So be sure to, if you're going to be talking about Hedera Hashgraph business in your social posts in something like LinkedIn or Twitter, make sure to disclose that you're an ambassador in your profile. When it comes to a post, there's some times that you will need to disclose and sometimes that you don't need to worry about disclosing. So for example, you say, hey, I couldn't be more excited to announce Hedera 18, the Hashgraph Developer Conference. Well, this is fine. You're talking about the Hedera Hashgraph Developer Conference. You've already disclosed you're an ambassador, and you're not making any endorsement of the event. You're just saying that it's out there. You're retweeting, you're liking, you're sharing, you're giving other people insight about this event. Great. This is where you don't need to worry about disclosing. You've already put in your profile that you're an ambassador. You're ready to go. But if you start talking about giving your opinions that influence people's decisions, then you have to start thinking about disclosing. So for example, you talk about Hashgraph technology doesn't use forks, so no soft forks, and you say things like, Hedera Hashgraph is therefore the best DLT ever. If you start doing these kind of things where you're giving an endorsement of Hedera Hashgraph, that's where you will need to disclose in the post. In the post, you can say, disclosure, I'm a Hedera Hashgraph ambassador, and then you're in good shape. The other thing you need to know about, which is true for Hedera as well as every other brand, is if you do receive any compensation, then you should disclose that. So for example, disclosure, if you receive compensation from a company, disclose the compensation. So if you're talking about an event, for an example, and you are receiving compensation for it, then disclose for that event. If you're receiving immaterial items, $25 or less, merchandise, t-shirts, you don't have to worry about disclosing. Those are the kind of things that are small and immaterial. You don't need to say that. The important piece to all of this is we want to have truth in our advertising. So if you receive compensation for something and you influence without disclosing, that's not very truthful. So if you receive compensation, if you receive products, if you receive something material, you do need to disclose that when you're talking about that company, that product, or what it is that you're discussing. So the third point, personal versus professional accounts, what I hope to do here is help you understand the difference between something that you might be doing for Hedera or your own company or your own personal or private business. So the first category is branded accounts. In branded accounts, it's the company that owns and manages those accounts. The company manages the look and feel. The company manages the guidelines associated with that. The company manages the content, and it's generally reviewed. You are not, as an ambassador, managing branded accounts. We'll let the brand Hedera Hashgraph, for example, manage those branded accounts. The second category is a business spokesperson, where you are speaking on behalf of the company, where you're an official representative or spokesperson. Well, an ambassador is not an official business spokesperson. Official business spokesperson speaks on behalf of that company, and the content is reviewed or vetted by that company. So no, an ambassador is not an official business spokesperson. But yes, an ambassador is a professional where opinions are your own, you're able to be human and speak about Hedera Hashgraph business. Do so by disclosing your relationship. And the last category is a private account. For private accounts, be sure to keep your private information private. So where you can do this, here's an example. These are some social profiles. On the left is a branded account. This is the Hedera Hashgraph LinkedIn. Yeah, the branded account uses the branded look and feel and the branded logo. But no, if you're using a professional or personal account, avoid representing the brand. So you are not allowed to use banners or logos that represent that brand. Leave those for the brand. Okay, the fourth point is to be truthful, respectful, and professional. So basically, summary, stay cool. What we want you to do is, again, extend your professional values and the brand's professional values online. You know, we take pride in our mission and culture, and we take the high road to preserve it. We have a strong focus and respect for our audience. We respect and uphold our legal responsibilities. We communicate facts over rumors. We can't control the conversation, so we manage it fairly, efficiently. We aim to listen as well as talk. We respect, we don't bully, including the competition. We don't bully the competition. We're transparent, honest, and respectful. So these are some values that we'd like you to think about. We'd like you to respect these values and extend them when engaging online. The fifth point is to avoid discrimination, harassment, violence, etc. Now, this stems from federal law in the US, and as Hedera Hashgraph is incorporated in the US, we're using the US laws to talk about the way that we're going to protect individuals. That being said, we're asking you to respect these laws plus any local country laws that you may need to follow in terms of engaging and interacting online. So US federal law protects individuals from discrimination or harassment based on 9 protected classes: sex, race, age, disability, color, creed, national origin, religion, or genetic information. So please respect those rules. All US and local country laws must be respected. And protect our reputations, your reputation and our reputation as a brand. Avoid violence or threats of violence. Avoid personal attacks, derogatory language, impersonation. Make sure to protect confidential information. If you do receive any confidential or private information, keep that information private or confidential, and protect any proprietary rights, any rights to photos, imagery, etc. that are out there. Make sure to protect those and don't disclose those online. And the last point, 6, monitor and correct for misstatements. So monitoring is required for you and for the brand. If we're communicating in social networks, we should be monitoring the kind of things that we communicate. The cadence of monitoring should be aligned to the cadence of your posting. So if you're posting multiple times a day, you're going to want to monitor the things that are being said multiple times a day. You know, there's some real easy tools out there like alerts.google.com that you can use to monitor your name or your account profile so that you can see what kind of things are going on. In social networks, maybe some of you are using tools like a Hootsuite or a Buffer or a TweetDeck or another kind of dashboard. And then certainly you can look at analytics.twitter.com if you're in Twitter to see what kind of things are going on. So it's really important to monitor. If you want any guidance, please don't hesitate to ask us. We can help you set up little dashboards and tools for monitoring. But again, it's important to see what's being said out there and make sure to correct any misstatements. So with this, I'm going to turn it back to Alec to share where you can get more information and next steps.
Hey guys, Alec here. First off, just wanted to extend my own personal thank you to our ambassadors. Really appreciate everything you guys do. A copy of these social media guidelines will be kept in the ambassador manual, which you guys should be able to find in the ambassador deliverables. That, of course, is pinned in the ambassador telegram. Additionally, a link to this recorded guidelines training will be kept in the pinned message at all times so that anyone who needs to can review this information. So your next steps are to read and understand the social media guidelines, update your social profiles with somewhere on the profile it needs to say that you are a Hedera Hashgraph ambassador and your opinions are your own. And be sure to monitor your conversations and ask for guidance. Myself, Andy, and James are here at all times to help with the ambassadors and answer any questions that you may have. And thank you for your time today.
Thank you.